Warning. This podcast contains spoilers as well as coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised. Hang on. There's something off about this intro. Whatever. Toot-toot-toot, Ohio, all that good stuff. Welcome everyone to the R Anime Podcast. Just a couple of friends from the best place on the internet, the R Anime subreddit. Wonderful time.
Yeah.
Sphere. The great weeb sphere.
Yep. I'm Mozilla Fennekin. My username on Google is Lux. Just ignore that. I'm joined once again by my friends Kaverick from Russia.
Hello there.
And one of the super special snowflakes, one of the R Anime moderators, Shocking 807.
Hi everyone. Thank you for presuming my snowflake status.
Yes, it's almost that time of the year too. So I should have saved that for winter or fall, but
we'll take it back to 0 for then.
Yeah, we'll try it again sometime. So this episode is a follow-up or a sequel or spiritual successor, however you want to call it, to one of the episodes we did earlier. A couple months ago, we did the first impressions for all of the new anime that started, or most of the new anime that started in the summer 2017 anime season. And now we're going to wrap that up with a retrospective podcast. We're going to go back on all those anime, reflect on them, review them, give our thoughts about them, our recommendations, and it should be a good time. Just know these are our wonderful opinions, not exactly reflective of anyone else on our anime, although we're the most correct, in my humble opinion.
This is... Our opinions are your opinions. Not really, but I mean, might as well be.
Look, let's put it this way. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, except ours is right. That's just how it goes.
Yep. That's the motto.
And, we're not going to talk about some shows that are still ongoing, so unfortunately, Guru and Ballroom are not on this list, even though they're great and everyone should watch them. But we will bring back some other shows that started in spring but ended this season. So this is just shows that ended in the summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll get right into it. The first show is Kakegurui. Who wants to talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about it. Kakegurui was a pretty fun watch, all in all, but it lacked something special about it. It was just a decent series overall about gambling and more gambling and even more gambling and crazy faces, but there was nothing really besides it. Like, there was no real plot, no real characters, just some like concepts, and that's about it.
I think it kind of lost some steam right around that like middle arc where it was like the weird Russian roulette chick was like orgasming everywhere over like getting shot. Like, I think I didn't even like hate that. Like, that didn't ruin the series, but I think it kind of lost its spark that it had early on of that like unpredictability, high stakes air that it had. And I think some of the games, like, maybe I'm just really dumb, but like I think some of the games were kind of hard to follow. Like, not even the poker ones, but they had so many like really specific rules that I think it was fun to try and predict like how people would cheat. But then after the games got so convoluted, like, you couldn't even make predictions on how people would cheat. So it just got kind of, like, tough to follow.
Yeah, I get that. I don't think the gambling of this anime was really good at all. If you want a gambling anime, then everyone's going to point you to the direction of Kaiji and among other older shows. Instead, though, I will say I enjoyed this show. I gave it a 6. It's about a little above average. And that's because what I would watch it for is the reactions, basically. I wouldn't really say this is a gambling anime. Rather, it's like the effects that they feel. It's like the way these characters act in really high-stakes situations, the way they react to crushing losses and being in this corner, in this predicament where they're about to lose everything. And just like the intimidating their opponent as well.
And I really like the main girl, Yumiko. I think she's a really great main character, she was really just fun. And she was, like, it was fun to see her screw everyone over. And, like, it was fun because she'd be, like, really cute, but then really intense and, like, taunting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really fun to follow her. And honestly, I think, like, watching so many other dumpster fires along with this show kind of made it look good by comparison. Because even if it wasn't the best it could have been, I still enjoyed, like, looking forward to this show every week to watch it.
Yeah, it's one of the. It's not the best show of the season, but it's definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah, like if you're making a list of shows to watch, like this one's worth it. It's not like a must-watch, but it's definitely, if you're interested, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of enjoyable, but again, it's nothing too special. Just some weird faces here and there. And what kind of bothered me is an original ending, apparently. Which kind of feels like a bait for a sequel for some reason. Like, if they wanted to bait for a sequel, why wouldn't they adapt original chapters?
I don't know.
Strange.
It was a very non-ending.
It was odd. It was odd in that it was like a non-ending that still felt like nothing happened, and I guess that was the point, but it was weird. It was just really weird. It was a weird non-ending. I did like that the guy, main character, I don't even know his name because he's kind of that irrelevant, but he was, like, given a kind of chance to shine and, like, enjoy gambling, so to speak. So I was kind of glad that he got a moment to shine, even though the rest of the ending was kind of lackluster. So, like, some good came of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got something, but otherwise that guy was really fucking boring. I didn't even know why he was in the show.
He existed, yeah.
I still don't know his name. I don't even care to look it up on Mao. Like, it's not that. It's so irrelevant.
Yeah.
He's so irrelevant.
I would even say he, like, reduces the quality of the show, because every time it's like Yumiko's doing something interesting, and he's like, oh no, Yumiko, what are you doing? It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Just let her do it.
Yeah, like, she's already gambled her existence away. What are you doing? Like, come on. Oh shit, there's gambling again. Like, come on, guy. Come on. But, yeah, it was overall... I think it's like a 6-7 for me. Like, overall fun watch, and like one of the probably better ones of the season, but it could have been better.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, it's a 6. It's a fine show, really, all around, but nothing too special. Just some anime to kill time for to watch. But I wouldn't really recommend it that much. Again, if you want to see some gambling or like high stakes anime, Kaiji, No Game No Life, even Death Parade would be better than this, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just okay. I actually like that this was the most popular show of the season because it's just nice to have like a kind of non-offensive show that's just decent. You know, it gets a lot of people into, and like I'm kind of imagining like me a couple years ago not really watching a lot of anime. I'm like, okay, I'll just watch the most popular show, and then I watch this, and it's like, okay, well, this is fine, but you know, there's gotta be something better in this season, right? So you know, they go out looking for more shows.
Yeah.
You know, at least props for it being like a somewhat different concept. I mean, we don't really have that many gambling type shows, so at least it has like an interesting premise and is trying to do something remotely different. So I'll give props for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So if we're done with Kakegurui, then the next show we're going to talk about is Koi to Uso, or Love and Lies. Who watched Love and Lies?
Yes.
Yeah, I also watched it.
Oh, all three of us.
I wish I haven't watched it though.
I'm actually a huge slacker, and I got like 4 episodes left, and this is not because like I didn't have time to watch it, but I was like, do I really want to finish this show? Like, do I really have to?
No.
Like, do I have to? I was so sad too, because like at the beginning I was kind of on board with it, because I was like, you know, we got a confession. They were like making out in the first episode. It looked like it was gonna be like a proactive romance. Like, it felt like things were gonna happen. And then I like the development between him and his wife, Rina or whatever.
Lilina.
Ririna, yeah.
Or
Ririna, whatever.
Ririna, Lilina, whatever, yeah.
Ririna, like, yeah. She was pretty, like, I like how they had that kind of, like, development that they had going on, where they kind of both felt like real people when interacting with each other. And then I liked that he was the boring MC, but he was, like, canonly boring. Like, his interest was, like, what was it, ancient ruins or something?
It was ancient burial mounds.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing.
Yeah, so that's like weird as shit, but at least they had a reason for him being boring, and everyone in the show, like, acknowledged him being boring.
Yeah.
And, like, the gay dude was, like, a cool idea to explore, but then they just, like, stopped being cool. Like, it stopped being interesting, and they just kind of, they're putting on a play. We're all sad now. Like,
it's not even about it. It had some cool concept again. I believe I have said it before in the previous podcast. It has an interesting idea of, like, enforced marriages and like exploring all this stuff. It's a pretty nice idea. It might lead to some juicy drama, but instead it turns into, like, your usual rom-com situation. Like, it's so boring. It's such a waste of a nice, interesting world, and it's a disappointment in this regard, sadly enough. Moreover, as you said, the main character is terrible. He's horrible. I mean, you haven't even seen his devious, like, things that he would done in the last episodes. I mean, it was so laughable. It was so bad. The ending was, like, among the worst I've ever seen, I believe. It was just so bad.
Yeah,
like,
Sean, you really did not miss anything in the last 4 episodes.
This is making me want to see it. I need to experience this awful ending.
Yeah, I mean, it's laughable. It's really laughable. Like, you're watching it and you, like, cannot wrap your mind around it because you cannot believe that the authors would make you believe in this ending, like, at all. It's not possible. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I would not buy into it even if I was, like, in love with the show. I don't know. It was really bad.
So it would be a betrayal even if you were all in up until this last episode.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Yeah. Moreover, in this last episode, his friend Nisaka, I believe. Yeah, Nisaka was his name.
Yeah,
he told the main character that he sucks, and the main character admitted it. Yes, I do suck. And I was like, yes, this 2 pictures is the anime in a nutshell, basically. You suck, yes,
so
I do suck. Yeah, basically.
XD.
Yeah,
so meta.
Yeah, I know I have mentioned it many times that I'm a sucker for romance anime because it's like my weak spot, and it seemed like an interesting show to explore, and ultimately it was just a train wreck, basically.
That's
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, into the trash can it goes.
Into the trash.
Yeah. This show's weird. It's really weird. I have very mixed opinions on it, mixed feelings about it. I enjoyed this show. I actually really did. But that's also because I did not take it seriously at all. Like, the first episode was pretty stupid. I think the concept is interesting, but doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I think I went over.
Yeah, I remember you hating it.
Doesn't.
You're like, this concept is dumb. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so I was expecting you to slay this.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know. I just started having fun with it. It's just really freaking dumb a lot of the time. There's one of my favorite episodes was episode. The number doesn't matter, but it was the episode where they get an invite. What the fuck is his name? Neji and Lilina. They both get a invite from.
Oh, I know.
From the government saying, okay, you have to take this special course for
literal sex ed.
Yep, and it ends up being a sex ed class, and it's freaking awesome. They start literally passing out condoms to everyone in the class, and then they say, now we're going to show you a demonstration, and they just straight up play a porn film. Like, and I'm just thinking, this is like a government-sanctioned porno that they're playing. That is freaking hilarious.
Can you imagine being like the workers for that? Like, yeah, you're working for the government making a porno.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Such prestige.
That's a nice work, yeah.
It's great, and and Neji, he's like all weirded out by this. Like, what's going on? What do the others think about this? He's looking around. There are all these couples making out, getting really into it. It's fantastic. And then they say, "All right, now we're done. Now you guys get to spend the night here, and we're just gonna, we're gonna give you your own private room." And you kind of know what they're implying by that. And it's, I don't know. I like it.
I think they should have done more shit like that. Like this really ridiculous society where they're having government-funded orgies, essentially, where it's like, you guys need to go hook up. And, like, you could definitely see that it's like, when they play up the ridiculous scenarios like this, you're like, whoa, this is really entertaining. But then when they kind of bring it back to the same old bullshit of, like, the back and forth of not knowing if we like each other, or like, which girl does he like more, or like, that kind of stuff. Like, we can get that anywhere. We don't need that shit. We want the government funded orgies, and that's what we came here for.
But yeah,
I mean, if that lecture ended up with an orgy, actual orgy, that would be cool.
It would be.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm exaggerating that. I'm still making it sound cooler than it is. Like, it's not actually an orgy. They're just going off in like a hotel to like hook up with each other.
It's a government-funded love hotel, probably. That's awesome. Yeah, this show is just... I don't know. I thought this show was really funny, but I don't think it was trying to be funny, so that kind of makes
you just gave up on it that soon.
Yeah, but it's like you guys said. It has an interesting concept. It has these interesting themes, and... yeah, I mean, it could definitely be better, but... I just to kind of show you how seriously I kind of took this. There was one thing that happened, and I know I am crazy. I'm batshit insane for thinking this, but there was one episode, one scene where the redhead government lady said, like, she was explaining the whole concept of the scientific marriage thing, and she's saying that she was making a point that you don't fall in love with someone based on physical appearance. That's not a thing. So she specifically said to Neji, when you see a girl with big boobs, you think she's really hot, right? But that's not actually love. That's just, that's just physical affection. That's just lust. So I was thinking, is that why Misaki's tits are gigantic? Because that's what, if so... That is really funny. That's like the best excuse for a big-titted anime character I've ever seen, because I don't actually think that girl had any personality, but Lilina was actually really interesting as a character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, he's getting to know, like, the Kanahana character, or Hanakana, like, he's getting to know her, and her personality is literally being a Hanakana character.
Yeah.
Like, that's the appeal. Like, it's just her voice actress. Like, no one else cares about her, because the character designs are shit. I think this has, like, awful character designs. I saw, like, they were in that, like, they're in the New Type magazine, and you have all these, like, cute girl doing cute things shows making an appearance of everyone in swimsuits, and then you just see these two girls from the fucking Koitu Uso, and I'm like, you guys just look like shit, like... They all have, like, egg heads, like, the super round eyes. It's just such a bad design. And so, they need to have personalities at this point. And the, like, Kanahana character is just, like, so boring. Like, she just sucks. And it doesn't make sense that, like, your like, initial, like, interaction is, like, he gave you an eraser, so you guys have been in love with each other.
Wow.
And then once he starts having an actual relationship with people... with someone, that he'd be like, no, let's go back to the eraser chick.
Yeah, it's
very
pretty dumb. Yeah, that's how it is.
Let's move on to the better shows.
Awkward.
Do we even have better shows? I know we do somewhere, but
yeah, we do.
At some point.
Yeah, at some point they will come. Yeah. Let's believe.
At some point. Believe it.
So the next show, we're gonna skip.
It's not one of those shows.
Yeah, this is not a good transition to this one.
Yeah, Hajimete no Gal. Listen, I'd like to pretend that this show doesn't exist, so we're not going to talk about it. All right, no one watched it on this podcast. No one should watch it. That's all that needs to be said. So, Next show, the actual next show, is Gamers. I know you two didn't watch Gamers, did you?
No, I haven't watched it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
How was Gamers?
Yeah. So I guess I should rectify something I said in the First Impressions podcast. I said that Gamers looked like a typical club rom-com type of show, and a lot of people kind of got on my case for that, saying no, that's not at all what it is. Actually, it's just a rom-com. Yeah, my bad. I guess that was actually the point, where they kind of, like, the description of the show framed it as like a club show, and then in the first episode it's setting up a club show in the first episode, and then like the guy just says no, basically. So I guess yeah, I got pranked there. My bad. And then this show really blew up in the middle part of the season because of a certain episode. So I figured, okay, everyone's talking about this show all of a sudden. I might as well watch it. And I see what the hype is. I think this show is okay, but it's not great. Like, at the very least, at the point where the show blew up, everyone was playing it up like it was the best show of the season. And I mean, that particular episode, and for anyone that's watched the show, they know what I mean. That particular episode, it was good, but I think everything leading up to it was pretty frustrating, because the whole point of this show is everyone misunderstands each other, and
yeah,
oh, that can be triggering.
Yeah,
that I heard about. Yeah,
I heard that there's like a ridiculous like chart going on, like the love triangle chart, but it's like a pentagon.
Someone made this gigantic hexagram that shows all the relationships. I think it's a little. I think it's intentionally made to be a little more complicated than it really is, but I haven't actually read it because I just looked at it and I'm like, how about I don't?
Too much for me. Yeah, too much.
TLDR.
But I mean, I gave the guy flair for that because it looked pretty intense. It felt worthy of a flare. But it did look like very intense.
Nice. Yeah, and there are established couples in this show, and and then it's like one guy hangs out with another girl, and the other girl sees it and takes it the wrong way. It's just a matter of no one being able to communicate properly. None of these people are able to like sit down together and say, okay, this is what's really going on. Let's be completely honest with each other. Just like a simple discussion can clear up everything, but of course that can't happen. It does get funny at some points, like in the middle point of the season when what really set this show off. That was a good point where it's like basically everything builds up to this one moment, and every single character is like thinking exactly how it's going to go. Okay, I'm going to do this, and then this is going to happen. He's going to say this. I'm going to say this in response. And then the next character is like, okay, we're going to be here at this time. He's going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then it's like one word that someone else says completely changes everything, and it all just falls apart. And that's pretty good, but otherwise it's just kind of it's just running around in circles for the most part. I didn't think it was actually that great.
So if that's what you're into, is like running around in circles, then check it out.
Yeah, fantastic. I remember my joke about this show is that this show is called Gamers because everyone plays themselves. Because everything they say is a complete misunderstanding and no one knows what's going on. Ha ha ha. That's good.
Haha.
Yep. What are you saying, Kevin?
All right. I just wanted to ask about the production, because apparently it was the first major anime by a new studio, Pine Jam.
I do like Studio Pine Jam because on their website they have a recipe for pineapple jam. That's fantastic.
Wow. That's good. Okay.
I'm glad they did.
I see them. That's redeeming. That's great.
Yep.
Give them all the Blu-rays. Like, buy the Blu-rays from them for that. That's good shit.
Yeah, especially buy the Blu-rays, because episode 12 had like a 5-minute bath scene with all the steam and the lights and everything. So and it's actually it's actually kind of clever in a way, because like I would say episode 11 is the true end for this show, and then episode 12 is like a bonus. And it's funny because they basically address this, because the whole concept of the episode is everyone is talking about DLC in games, basically, and this episode is basically DLC. or you should,
Yeah, yeah.
or the Blu-rays or DLC. You get it. So
Nice.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Nice.
That's funny.
Otherwise, the show looks okay. It's just it's just a slice of life rom-com, so it doesn't have like a lot of animation. I think the character designs are actually pretty great, to be honest, but not particularly outstanding. It's just an all right looking show.
All right.
It's just there. Just there.
Yeah, but yeah, I wasn't crazy about this show, but at the very least, I'll give it this. It was enough to make me interested. I was legitimately interested in what everyone was talking about when this show got popular, and I don't regret it. I gave it a 5. I thought it was about average. It was okay. It was better than what I gave it credit for in the first impressions. So there you go.
It's high praise. Higher praise.
So the next
Something
show
like
is another romance, actually, another rom-com. It's Tsurezure Children.
Yep.
Ooh. I like this show. I like this thing. This was really fun. I'm still kind of like, I kept thinking it was like ongoing. Like for some reason my mind wouldn't process that it only had 12 episodes. So I'm still kind of bummed that I'm not watching it week to week. But yeah, I really like this show. It was really cute. It was cool to have like little vignettes of these different couples, just do like various themes and how they play out with these different guys. It was really cool to see. It was really cute.
Yeah, it was a fun short comedy, basically, with romance as the central focus. It had likable characters, it had nice humor, some heartwarming moments. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
I
I think
really
the only
don't-
downside.
I really do not know what else to say about it. It's just a very nice comedy, and it's pleasant way to spend your minutes. It's not like you're killing your time. Actually, it's you're enjoying yourself watching Tsurezure Children.
Yeah, it's a 12-minute. It had 12-minute episodes, so it's a really great short. And it
Yeah.
always would switch over to a new story before it got old, which I appreciated. I think the only downside for me was the that Love Master character. Like, he just got kind of annoying. I just found him annoying, which is weird because I love his voice actor. So I thought I would love him, but he was just kind of whatever. I was like he didn't have much screen time, but when he was on screen, I was just like not a fan. But other than that, I think it was pretty solid.
Yeah, the Love Master is a dividing character in a sense because some people really enjoy watching his pranks and like a cocky attitude, and
I
some
think-
people are annoyed by him. Yeah.
I think I would have liked if he was actually more involved in the couples instead of just kind of like him standing by himself talking. You know, like those scenes where it would be like him and then like that one girl was like in love with him or the dude was in awe of him. Like those things were like whatever, but I would have rather him like actually be like involved in the ships in the different couples. But yeah, it's not a very small complaint. Nothing, not a real big complaint.
Yeah. What about
Definitely
you?
worth. Yeah, did you watch it, Mom?
Yeah, I watched it because it's convenient that it was 12 minutes, and it definitely makes good use of its time. This show works as a 12-minute short because it's just a collective of short stories, basically. Each story highlights one couple. Sometimes there are like 5 couples in this show, I think, or 4, and sometimes they intertwine. In all their stories, they all basically get into one place at the end. But yeah, that was just about it. It was just a show that I can't really take anything away from this show because every story is so short and there are so many of these stories that I didn't really get attached to any of them, but they put a smile on my face. They were funny. They were often touching, actually. This show. I remember what I really appreciate about this show is that some of the shows are really comical and some of them are just down to earth, very realistic. What I like is that most of them are funny because they're just really kind of awkward. They're so natural, but it's like all these characters get into these awkward situations, and it's like I don't know. It's like your first love is silly, basically. It's like these are kids. They don't have a whole lot going on in their lives, and they're falling for someone for the first time. It's just a silly experience, really. And I think this show really takes advantage of that. It really makes it known that it's just silly.
Yeah, I remember that one couple with like the girl. They were texting each other, and they weren't sure if they should confess their confess their feelings over text or do it in person. And then it's just one of those like facepalm moments where like the girl confesses and the guy sends at the same time. Oh, it's so bad when people confess over text message, and then and you're just like, no. But yeah, like those those are the fun misunderstandings when it's like a really funny misunderstanding and not intentional. Like, you know, you said this one word 5 days ago and I haven't talked to you since, kind of thing. Like, you know, those kinds of frustrating ones. So this would be the opposite of like koi to uzo with like good misunderstandings.
Yeah,
and it also makes these misunderstandings being lighthearted, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no real drama. You know that couples are basically established. Nothing will happen to them. They will be there for you. And it allows it to explore like romance in different forms. And you're not worried that they will split up or like something happens. And even the misunderstandings or like some other stuff happening, you will know that it's just played for laughs, basically. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of what I would, I guess I kind of wanted out of Tsukigakure a couple seasons ago, because that show was that show was also very realistic, very natural. It was about a middle school couple, but I didn't like it too much just because I feel like this is a little too real for me. But the things in this show are too real, but they're like, yeah, that is pretty dumb, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just a fun time. And for the reason why it was 12 minutes is also because this shared the same TV block with Aho Girl, which was another 12-minute show.
And makes sense.
I personally love Aho Girl because it is the story of the most powerful anime character in all of existence. None other than Yoshiko Yuki Aoi. That's who she is. It's Yuki Aoi screaming for 12 minutes and being a complete dumbass. The thing is, Yoshiko can do anything. She is so incompetent that she can actually do anything. I don't even know where to begin with this character, because she is so inept in everything in life that she just gets by. None of these people in this show really like her. I think that's what's great about Aho Girl, is that no one's really enabling her to be so stupid. It's just that they don't know what to do with her, because no matter what they try doing, no matter what they say, they cannot reason with her. They cannot get her to do the right thing, basically. It's like some saying from someone that I don't know, but you cannot argue with an idiot, because an idiot will drag you down to their level and to their level and then beat you with experience. And that's exactly what happens in this show. Like, there's an episode where she gets she meets up with like these like what are they? These stuck up high school bitches in class, and she's like curious about what they're doing, and they're trying to get her to go away, but everything they say to her just gets her more and more interested, and it gets to the point where she's like giving them relationship advice or something, because she like accidentally admits that she is in love with someone. I forgot specifically how it goes, but it's like I don't know. It's just what she will do is that she'll just get involved with you, and then no matter what you do, you try throwing her off, but everything you do it gets her closer to you, basically.
Interesting.
And sounds way too much like real life, so.
Yep.
Art imitates reality, apparently.
Yeah, I just added to my plan to watch list. It seems
I
like
need
an
to
easy
watch
commitment.
This.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys
only
I need to watch this.
12 episodes of 20 minutes each. Pretty good.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, this show was pretty funny. It's very spastic, very loud. I would say don't watch all of this at once. Don't watch too much of it at once, because I'm really glad that these episodes were only 12 minutes, because at some point there's a time when Yuki Aoi screaming at the top of her lungs gets a little bit it becomes too much for me after a while. I had to watch
I just saw the first episode of Black Clover, so I think I can do anything when that comes to streaming.
Alright.
I am prepared. Holy shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's for another day.
The
but
more I hear about Black Clover, the less I want to watch it.
That would be... I don't want to spoil the first impressions that'll come out in like 2 weeks from now on Black Clover, but they will not be positive impressions.
I've heard it's pretty terrible. But
yeah,
I had to watch like 3 episodes of Aho Girl once because I missed them, and then by the 3rd episode, I'm just like, please fucking stop, dear God.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also, as powerful as Yoshiko is, my favorite character is her best friend, quote-unquote best friend, Akun, who's actually not her friend at all. In fact, he fucking hates her because she is always around in his life, and she's under the impression that he loves him or something because she's always around in her life, because she just won't leave him alone. So he's the most... I think he has suffered more than any character in the entire world. Like, forget Guts, forget Okabe, forget Subaru, anyone you can think of. This guy has the most... he has the most depressing life. I feel bad for him.
That sounds intense, yeah. I like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's
You're selling the show.
Nice sell.
It's
Good sell. Good sell.
Yeah, it's a story of power and also of sadness, I guess.
Perseverance.
Of perseverance.
Struggle.
Yes. He's still alive, fortunately. So
unfortunately for him.
For him. But yeah, Aho Girl, one of the best shows actually for this season. So I would recommend it. And now we're on to 18 If.
Yeah, that's the show that I watched. And I was recommended to check it out by different people after 3 episodes, because apparently they were good. So, a bit of disclaimer, 18 Eve is a completely episodic show, and every episode was directed by a new person. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it's like Space Dandy, which also had a different production team behind each episode. And it tries to like explore different themes, topics, incorporate different art styles, some like directional decisions and stuff. And as a result, it ended up very uneven, very bumpy. There was like one brilliant episode. It was either 7 or 8. I do not really remember the number, but it was really good. Like at this point, I was like, "Whoa, it's one of the better shows of the season, easily," because that episode was like 10 out of 10. There were a couple of good episodes, some decent ones, but most of them were still pretty lackluster. I guess it showed that the Gonzo, the studio which produced the show, didn't have much money to spend on the show, unlike Bones on Space Dandy. And it really showed, because at times it looked really cheap. Like, you try to make your anime artsy, but you do not have money to do it. And it ends up really awkward, really bad looking, like you just do not believe in what you just watch. Also, yeah, I should mention that the ending was total garbage, like Koito's Soul levels of garbage. Again, laughable, yeah, just like unbelievable ending. Like, why would they do it? Like, I do not know. It's like they didn't know how to end the story, because there is a guy, the main hero Haruto, he's stuck in the dream world, and the mystery revolves around him, why he's there and not in the real world. And it's not really a spoiler, I guess. The show decides to end the story in the most boring way possible. Yeah, and it doesn't even make sense. So yeah, I gave it 5 just because that one particular episode was just great. It was very experimental, atmospheric, touching, and some of the stories were pretty nice. But ultimately, it's not really that good, I would say.
So could we just watch that one episode, or should we watch all of them?
You could watch like one episode, the first one, which explores the idea, which basically introduces you to the main characters, and then you can watch that 7 episode or 8. I don't remember.
Nice.
Let me check out. I believe I have it in some of my notes. Yeah, it was an episode 7. Yeah, it was really the best episode. Yeah. So yeah.
Would you say it was like good for the show, or was it like best of the season kind of tier?
It was best of the year kind of tier.
Nice. That's high praise. I will take this plunge.
Yeah, it was really good. It was experimental, weird, strange, but it was exactly what I and other people were expecting from 18if, like taking risks, making something bold. But it was like, ultimately it was just like one little thing to the show, sadly enough. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sad to see such potential go down the drain.
Yep.
I think that just happens with Studio Gonzo now. They get, I don't know, whatever they can throw their team at. They're not a very great studio these days.
Yeah.
But now, next show by a studio that is considered to be good nowadays by people that are not me, is Katsugeki Touken Ranbu. And to kind of go with what I said, I dropped this show after 2 episodes. I talked about it in the first impressions, why I dropped it in the first 2 episodes. So go listen to that. We don't have time to talk about it again here. This next show is Isekai Smartphone.
Naz's favorite show. Well, no, I mean Mozilla's favorite show of the year.
This is the best anime of the year, and by that I mean it is the worst anime of the year. Oh god, I don't even know why I added this to the list again. This show, I watched it because I think isekais are interesting. Like they can be interesting. I didn't condemn the concept of this show at first, even though it does sound stupid. But I don't know. I think I just had it in my head like this could be an interesting adventure show where this guy, he's exploring this fantasy world, and the only power he has is this weird gadget that can do all these different things. That could work. That sounds fun. Instead, the main character has every power in the world. He has every magic. He's a master of all the elements, and including this some bullshit known as null magic, which is all these miscellaneous spells. They say someone can only learn one null spell. Guess what? He knows all of them. He has a mental ability where he can just look at a book that has all of the null spells written in it. If he can just know the effects of the spell, he's learned it. Awesome! So he can do anything. He has all the magic power in the world. He's physically capable. He is mentally capable. All his senses are heightened from all these blessings by God. Yeah, fantastic. So in other words, the smartphone is pretty fucking pointless, basically. There's no reason for him to have it when he can just do anything else he wants. And so, that aside, I could still get behind the show if it was a fun show, because, I don't know, I'm thinking about like One Punch Man. That's an OP character who can do anything, and it's fun that way. But, no, it's just another typical boring self-insert character. He gets a bunch of girls, except he's too embarrassed to see them in their underwear. Whenever he does, they get really mad, and he like gets on his knees like, "Oh, please forgive me, I'm a really nice person." Like, dude, have some fucking dignity or something.
Well, maybe One Punch Man was just missing a smartphone. That was just the key.
One smartphone,
Yeah.
man.
One smartphone, man.
One smartphone.
You've improved the show. Yeah.
Yeah, so what you're saying is just worst kind of isekai, right?
Yeah, basically. And look, I know some people are going to like it for that. Like, people admitted that this show is trash, but, you know, it's a fun kind of trash. I personally do not have respect for it. I don't respect a show that is potentially interesting, that could do a lot of interesting things, but it's just like, no, let's just build the most fulfilling self-insert fantasy imaginable. Like, just imagine yourself, viewer. Imagine if you had all the powers in the world, and all of the girls in the world wanted your dick so much. They not only do they really want you, but they wouldn't even mind if you got married to someone else. They wouldn't even mind if you got married to 8 other people at one time.
Turn down your volume. Turn it down.
Because that's what fucking happens at the end!
I warned you. I warned you.
He gets 9 wives in the end.
What?
Wow.
Wait, is it for real?
That was not a joke. He gets 9 wives in this show.
Saving anime. Holy shit.
Exploring that harem ending to its fullest.
The harem.
Oh my god.
Koito Uso wishes it could have done that, really.
Yeah, okay, I take it back. Yeah, Koito is a pretty nice show, apparently, compared to this.
Great show. Great show.
Yeah, right.
I take it back.
Yeah, there's nothing. Even like one thing that could be funny about that could be good about this show is that even though main character is, I don't even know the fucking name, so don't bother me. Even though he is the most powerful character in the world, there's one thing he does a lot. He uses this one spell almost all the time. It is called Slip. It's a spell where he just casts it on someone and then they just trip and fall, like Charlie Brown slipping on a banana peel. Trip and fall. And he wins every fight by doing this. He just makes his opponent fall over. It's actually pretty funny, but it's just, the show doesn't really, I mean, okay, the show does admit that it's like a weird kind of goofy thing, but I don't know, it's just, it's not funny because I know that if that doesn't work, he can do all of the 9,000 other spells he knows, basically.
Yeah, I see. So you're saying it doesn't explore it to its fullest, yeah?
Not at all. It doesn't explore anything. It's not even worthy of the name In Another World with My Smartphone. It's just In Another World with My 9 fucking bitches.
Well, yeah, maybe that's actually a better title.
Yeah,
it is a better title.
I would watch it if it was just about him going around getting a bunch of girls. That even sounds like a better show, but
Yeah, right.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. If you want to see an isekai that does explore a few things interestingly, then watch Knights and Magic. Knights and Magic is not an amazing show, but it did do some things that I liked. I thought the first couple episodes were pretty bad. That's why I didn't even include it in the First Impressions podcast, because I'm just like, who gives a shit? But I was surprised by the end, by how much I liked it, how much better it was than Isekai Smartphone, I guess. So this, the main character...
Comparison, yeah.
That's high praise. So, the main character of Knights of Magic, he's a programmer that dies. And he gets reincarnated in this world where magic is basically used through robots or something. I'll admit I kind of ignored a bunch of the details in the beginning. But he uses his knowledge as a programmer from his previous life to basically reinvent all of the technology in this world. He's like so obsessed with robots that he just wants to build the best robot. And even though he's like super young, he gets like super into learning how the magic works, how the mechs work. You know, he builds his own, and he becomes this very young person that's like the most important person in the military because he is so smart and he is using all this logic that this world is not aware of, basically. So
Huh.
Yeah, he it starts his own revolution, in his own industrial revolution. Well, maybe that's a little extreme, but he reinvents all of the weaponry in this world, basically. And it becomes pretty interesting. I think for that, it's fine. It's not even it's not a trashy show. There's not a whole lot of fan service. There is one girl that's really into him, but he's so obsessed with mechs that he just doesn't care. He's oblivious, but it's not just it's not the awkward kind of oblivious. It's just he literally doesn't understand because he just doesn't care about girls or anything. He just wants to build a robot, dude. That's all he wants to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess some kinds of boys want to get into robots.
Yep, get in the fucking robot, dude. All right.
Yeah, sure, why not?
And the best part of it, the main character is voiced by Rie Takahashi. So he kind of looks like a girl, and he definitely sounds like a girl. So this show is just Megumin getting really excited about robots.
You're talking to two people who have Aqua's best girl, so...
Oh,
that's not the hardest sell. Remember that? Yeah.
God damn it.
We both like Aqua the best, so...
Yeah.
Did not work at all. But yeah, it's
try.
good. It's fine for having for exploring some of the isekai logic and why one character from the regular world would be so good in this other world. So,
all right.
Yeah. The next show is Yojitsu, or in English, Classroom of the Elite.
Yeah.
Kaverick, I know you want to talk about this one.
Yeah, I actually know there's a lot of hate going around this show just because how pretentious it is, and I kinda understand it. This show tries very hard to be something more than it is. It tries to explore its plot, it's like people were describing it as some kind of mix between Origairu and Assassination Classroom. So basically, there are characters which are kind of like from Origairu. Like there is a main character who is emotionless. He doesn't care about stuff. He wants to get stuff done and be done with it, I guess. And there are some girls who are in love with him, who are interested in him and stuff. And there are concept of different classes, and you need to actually fight each other just to move into another class, or to move your class into step forward, I guess. And ultimately it fails everything just because I believe the worst problem with the show is that it puts the plot before its characters. So it enforces many events artificially and puts characters here who weren't established, and tries to make them act accordingly. But the problem is that the characters weren't exposed at all. They weren't established. They're just some kind of cliches, and they are boring, and they do not even act in correlation with their description or with their character, which is horrible, actually. And there is always this flare of pretentiousness, each and every episode starts with some kind of quotation by a famous person, and that quotation doesn't even have to do anything with an episode in question. It's just here for some reason, because people like it, I guess. Yeah, coupled with pretentiousness, there is a lot of fan service. It's horrible when it's just the show tries to be smart, but you cannot take it seriously when it shows the bust of some random girl for 5 seconds straight. It could focus on her face, on her, I don't know,
anything.
Statue, yeah, anything basically, but it's focused on her bust, and you're like, okay, so what do I make out of this? Oh, also, every single girl on the show has an enormous bust. Like, why?
Nice. So we know what they're doing. We know what you do.
You know what I call this show? I call this show Rack Room of the Elite. Because my fucking god!
Yeah. I don't know. What bothers me a lot, or kinda makes me puzzled, is very high rank on Mel. It's almost 8, the mean score, which is really questionable. I don't know what people liked in the show. I guess they really liked the main character and how overpowered he was. Like, the same was with Mahoka. Yeah, but at the same time, he was so boring. There was some kind of mystery surrounding him, like who he is, why he is so mysterious. But it, of course, it was never explored because the light novel is ongoing, and apparently, even in the light novel, it wasn't explained. So, even if you want to watch this anime, even if you want to learn more about Aina Koji and his past, you will not get it, even if written spoilers. No, not a chance. Yeah, it was pretty bad all around. The only redeeming quality about this, it was not boring to watch actually. It was ridiculous, it was crazy, it was kind of funny, and that's why I wasn't bored by it. There weren't any kind of misunderstandings. It was just a stupid show, but it wasn't boring to watch. So yeah, I guess there is that. Yeah, what do you think about it?
Shaw, did you watch it?
I didn't get to see it. I heard good things from my like normie anime friends who are like the in between like watching every airing show and watching a lot and like being kind of normie about it, and they seem to like it. I don't know if they liked it at the end of the season. I was thinking of checking it out just because it seemed like something worth having an opinion on, but I'm terrible at airings and I didn't pick it up. So I might check it out for the memes just to see what's up, but it seems like it kind of missed the mark no matter what.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, what about you, Mas?
Yeah, this is like probably the most frustrating kind of show for me to watch, where it's like they present all these different things that, you know, they're interesting. Like, you know, you have the main character, you have his past, all these characters have like all these different sides to them, and it just goes nowhere with them. It doesn't explain them, it doesn't follow through on them. You could have cut them out of the anime and nothing would be different. Such as, spoiler alert, Kushida, or Kikyo, or whatever her name was, the pink-haired girl. Like, she has a completely different side to her. They go nowhere with this. It's only brought up once or twice in the rest of the show.
Yeah, twice.
It could have been cut out entirely. Yeah. Nothing would have happened. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, it does the base level of getting your interest and then just telling you, if you want to see more, just go read the novels, basically. Because you are not going anywhere with this show. Instead, just enjoy all these girls. Yeah!
Yeah, enjoy this fan service episode in the middle of nowhere, just because, why not?
Enjoy all like the 2 episodes in a row, the 2 fan service episodes in a row. Even the...
Yeah.
I actually was getting into this show a lot more with the last few episodes, because they do something really weird. The whole show changes. All of the classes go onto an island. They go onto a tropical island, and they have this weird challenge where, you know, you have to set up your own camp, and everyone has a leader, and, you know, it's a whole point-based game, I guess.
Yeah, again, why it doesn't make sense, but okay, why not?
I don't know. I thought it was interesting, and then the whole thing at the very end was just like, basically, the winner is decided by like one single thing, which kind of makes the whole challenge irrelevant. Like, why bother having this whole elaborate plot if all they had to do was this one thing? I don't get it. It doesn't explore its plot or its setting or its characters well at all.
Yeah, it seems like the author just wanted to throw a bunch of cool things, or what he considers to be cool, together without any real plan or idea what to do with them. That's why there are many like scattered different ideas across the board in this anime, but they are not explored in any way, basically.
Yeah. Sounds like a good time. Nice light novel adaptation.
Yep.
Much appreciated.
Exactly. Yeah. It's actually kind of a shame. I've always thought like Studio Lurch was pretty good at making adaptations of stuff. You know, like in the past they've done the big one they've done is Assassination Classroom, which a lot of people love. They did Gakugarashi, which I really loved when that show came out. You know, people.
I like that too.
Yeah, people say those are pretty good adaptations.
It might not be. It might be the source though sucks. Might not be them. Like the source that they're adapting from might just suck.
Well, I say this because a lot of Source fans were actually really upset with this show because it apparently cut out or changed a lot of stuff in the anime.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why I say, like, Studio Lurch, they usually, I mean, sure, Assassination Classroom and School Life are good shows because they're from good manga, but it's like, you know, all they have to do was just adapt it decently. So I think they're a reliable studio for that, but then they go out and pull this shit, and it's like, wow, okay. That kind of hurts, Lurch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah. What did you score it, Cav?
My score is actually pretty high for the show. It's 5, and it's borderline 4. Just because I wasn't bored by it, and there were, like, in this season, there were worse show. Like, if the season was better all around, it would be like 3 or 4. But because there were, like, Koi to Uso kinds of shows, yeah, Yojitsu was on their phone a better show.
That's fair. I gave it a 3 because it fucking sucks. So next show is Isekai Shokudou. I think I said Isekai Restaurant.
Has anyone watched it?
I watched this. I finally watched one.
Oh, nice.
So,
you should talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm like, I think I'm definitely in the minority here, but I low-key just like hate this show because I would say it's not an offensive show. Like, disclaimer, it's just really like an isekai show where you have like these mini vignettes, like it's 2-parter episodes, and like each half would explore this isekai type character. Either it's like an elf or, you know, a hunter, or just even like weird lizard people, and how they find this Western diner in their world somehow, and how like eating this delicious food at this restaurant like makes them like it has impacted their lives. Like, one of them even has, like, this weird, like, festival of, like, they have almost, like, a fighting tournament to see who's gonna go there and get food for the village. And it's, like, it's kind of a fun idea of, like, showing how our world is so mysterious to all these actually mysterious characters. But it's just so boring. Like, holy shit. I mean, I've never been this bored watching a show before. Like, it's so, like, I want to say it's executed well, but it's not. Because it just feels so pointless. So, like, the people aren't even orgasming when they eat food.
Yeah, what's the fucking
point? What's the point? What's the point,
what's
really?
the point? I'm watching people eat food. I'm not going to see them again, except maybe, like, a one-off cameo. And then they're not orgasming while eating food, so I'm hungry, they're not doing anything, and I'm bored. It's just the worst combination. Some people, like, really enjoyed it, because it was kind of like a chill show for them. I don't know. I think it would, like, I'd zone out of it, and then I'd see, oh, like, this half of the episode has mermaids. This is cool. I like mermaids. This show doesn't make me like mermaids, but I like mermaids from something else, so now I'll pay attention for this. But it's it was just, you know, it's just a boring show. I think I've forgotten about it already. I feel happy about it. I gave it, like, a really low score just because I was really pissed at how boring it was. Like, I think I gave it, like, a 3. Because it was so boring.
Yeah, I'm checking them all. I'm checking them all, and you gave it 3. Most gave it 4, and I gave it 4 as well. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys were nicer than me. I think some people, like, it's not really that offensive, but somehow it managed to offend me and my attention span. So it gets a 3. But you guys watched it, right? You guys said you gave it 4s. Did you guys also find it boring, or am I just like, I'm just angry?
No, it is boring.
Okay, it's not just me.
Yeah, it is boring. And yeah, I guess the the best word to describe Isekai Shokudou would be really the word pointless. Like, there is no point. I mean, I do not mind Isekai shows if
or
they have
episodic
some,
shows.
if they have some kind of I don't know, progression, or if they care for its characters, like for example, Area or
Yeah.
Hidamari's Cage. But here there is no real progression. Like, every episode is so scattered, so disconnected from the previous one. You can watch them in different order, like whatever order,
Yeah, like
basically,
you,
and
like they
you
had
will
that
not miss anything.
Yeah, sorry, they had that like one subplot of the waitress who they had the waitress who like couldn't get a job, and then she got a job as a waitress there, and because she had horns or something, and then she got a job in her world. So I thought they were gonna end it with like her leaving the diner and like moving on with her life, which I think would have been like a nice kind of touching way of wrapping it up. Like, she's
Yep.
leaving, we're leaving the show, she got back on her feet because of this, and that would have been like a nice cute thing. But like nothing like that happens. Like they just eat cookies or something in the last episode. And I have nothing against cookies, but like you got to do something. So it did look really nice though. I mean, I got to give props to that. Like a lot of the artwork looked nice.
I thought the
No one
characters were
orgasmed
cute.
over food, so could look nicer, but they tried.
The real question is, apparently the source for Isekai Shokudou is a novel.
Oh.
I wonder how it would work like novel in the novel style.
I thought it was actually.
Is the author just describing the food or what?
I thought that's what the novel would be like. Because I think like that. We're making obvious comparisons to Shokugeki no Soma, and I think that these shows are very different because this is a light novel and Shokugeki no Soma is a manga. Shokugeki no Soma has the power of visuals, so that's why it has all these intense reactions, whereas in Isekai Restaurant, it's just descriptions, basically.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
description, yeah.
And you can tell
it's
too when they
boring.
have a lot of the like internal thoughts or them in-depthly describing this food.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell that they adapted it from something that was very text heavy.
Yeah.
But alas, we have
Yeah, it
stayed
didn't
awake.
work out.
We
Yeah.
stayed awake through it somehow, but not really.
Yeah. My high praise for this show is that I didn't dislike it. I mean, I completely get your complaints. I'm not like disagreeing with you or anything. The reason why I kind of liked it is just because I watched like 20 shows a season, so it's like, okay, now I'll have Isekai Restaurant.
Yeah, like it's not offensive. It's not offensive like other shows could be.
It's-
like it wasn't actually that bad, but it was so like if you give a show points for being entertaining, I'm taking points away for being boring.
That's fair. I just consider it
Yep.
basically a filler show for the season. Like, I'll just watch this because it's not that bad. It's kind of interesting to me, I guess, but it's like a free show. It's like it's a freebie. I literally sat down. I watched this while I was playing Pokemon. That's what I was doing. So I didn't even really pay much
Nice.
attention to it.
Right.
The only thing I could say is that the reason why it disappoints me is because I want to know more about the chef, and they don't.
Yeah, that's a mysterious thing.
Yeah, I think the show could be interesting if it was specifically about him and like how meeting all these characters from all these different worlds and all these different cultures, how that changes his life. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Isekai Restaurant, not a good show. But it's not a good show, but it's not an offensive show either. It didn't insult our intelligence, which I guess in the end is all I really ask for. So
The standards are that low.
So moving on, we have we're finally back to the good shows of the season with Princess Principal.
Yep.
I loved Princess Principal personally. It was my second favorite show of the season. It's in a way I would kind of say this is like a better Koito Usa, where I wasn't exactly taking it seriously because this show in a way is kind of goofy, but
Yeah, it's goofy.
yeah, but like, I mean, I don't mean that in like a bad way. I would actually say that the silliness of this show makes it a little better because what Princess Principal is, it's a cute girls doing serious things, basically. It's all these cute girls and they're spies. They're like secret military spies in this weird high school. There's a literal princess who's among them. It's pretty great. And what I like about it is that they do some things that are just like so stupid in theory that they're actually really awesome just because it's these girls doing it. Like, if this was any other show, it would be so stupid. But it's like, there was one of my favorite parts of the show was these two girls had to go somewhere. They were infiltrating someplace, and there was a guy blocking a door. So they had to get past him somehow. So what they do is they like start a gas leak, and then this one other soldier, he comes up to the guy blocking the door saying, hey, you got to get out of here. There's like a gas leak. You got to go get your gas mask. They're over in that room. Okay. And then it turns out that other soldier that showed up is two girls. One of them is like standing on her shoulders to pretend to be one guy. It's so ridiculous, but it's awesome because it's them.
It's awesome, yeah. Yeah, I actually feel like it's a smart written show for that reason. It placed everything on its characters basically, and tried to make them as likable as possible. So no matter what kind of stupid shit they would do, you would still root for them just because you like them. Coupled with pretty nice aesthetic, great atmosphere.
Steampunk London.
Steampunk London, yeah, it was great. It was actually great.
Setting.
The art was good. The art was great.
Character designs are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Anj is my favorite girl of the season in terms of personality and appearance.
I would disagree with that, but that's a different story. Basically, it just placed everything in its characters, and it kind of worked out. It got away with many like stupid, ridiculous things across the season. There were some genuinely great episodes, like with Dorothy's father. I really like this episode.
That was a really touching one.
Yeah, at some point I had the show at like 9, but the ending was a real huge letdown. Like, at that point, my belief, my like hope in the anime crumbled, sadly enough. Like, my and it, like, as long as you believe in the show, like, take everything for granted, it works. But once you actually try to notice like some hiccups, some not so good things, it kinda crumbles a bit. And that's what happened at the end. When they tried to wrap up everything, it didn't work out because the actual plot came out of nowhere. The resolution was lackluster. Many pointed out that it was basically a sequel baiting. I'm not sure even if there is going to be even a sequel. We'll see about that. Apparently, it sold pretty well.
Yeah, I think I saw it sell like 5K Blu-rays, like around that area. So that's kind of cool, since the same studio did Flip Flappers last year.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of like had a cult following, but sold really terribly. So I'm kind of glad to see that the studio managed to make another like really innovative, unique, original show, and then actually see it pay off. I think something with this studio though, and endings though, it's not their strong suit, because these same criticisms were had for Flip Flappers last year, where everyone said like, oh, it was great, and then once the main plot kicked in, it kind of fell short. And then it's kind of the same with this show. Kind of wish they were able to kind of wrap their stories up well, but I really enjoyed it too. I really enjoyed the environment, the setting. The artwork is cool. I like the characters. I was really surprised with myself that I liked the character of Beatrice, or who I think of as the annoying voice girl.
Beata, yeah.
I was so shocked, because I hate annoying voice girls in anime, like the really whiny Genki girls. Like the one, she's just like on the princess's dick the whole time, and she's like, you don't know the princess, I know her. Like, yeah, that kind of thing. And she was, I like her backstory with like how her voice, like her dad was like some fucked up scientist, and like her voice can actually change to different people. I feel like that kind of like represents the whole like cute girls doing serious things in a way that's fun if you believe into it enough. Like she's imitating all these different deep voice people, and she actually has like a reason behind this, and it makes her useful in the spy group. So I appreciated the show. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
good show.
Yeah, it's nice that they did something with the annoying voice girl
like normally she would just be useless and everyone would ignore her and she'd just be a pain, but she actually contributed to the group, so I appreciated that.
And that's another thing that I love about this show, where it's like really kind of silly if this was in another show, but because it's this show, it's really awesome. I just love that every time she changes into like a man's voice, it's the perfect thing. Just because it's this little tiny girl sounding like an adult male, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, there are very different, various opinions about Princess Principal, but as long as your suspension of disbelief holds, it's an awesome anime. But I know many people who do not buy like the whole girls doing spy stuff from the beginning, and they hated the show because they didn't take it
fuck those guys.
Right, I guess.
The show's awesome. All right, I mean, yeah, obviously if you're not into girls being spies, then don't watch this, but you know, I think that what's that?
It's at least a step up from Joker's Game.
Yeah, fuck that show.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, like I said, it's a show that knows exactly what it's doing. It knows it's cute girls, and people are going to watch it for the cute girls. So, you know, they do cute things, but they also do really super badass things.
Yeah, and it's also the show where the first episode represents really well what the show is going to be about. So, if you want to check out the first episode, and if you like it, continue watching. If you do not, then, yeah, it's going to be the same, basically.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah,
definitely
one of the better shows of the season.
It was my second favorite show of the season. The only show that was better than Princess Principal, the only show that's better than every show this year, is none other than Made in Abyss.
I disagree with the later statement, but okay.
Well, I disagree with your disagreement.
What's your other favorite? It's gonna make me really curious.
Rakugo.
Okay, that one's up. Yeah,
I can see that.
So, for me, it's pretty much Rakugo and Made in Abyss for me is like the top
basically.
two.
And also, if you count Sangutsu ending this year, I guess that also takes the second spot. But yeah, Made in Abyss is someone up there, definitely.
Yeah, I think Made in Abyss is probably my favorite so far too. I think Maz, your whole like aesthetic on here and Twitter has been Made in Abyss themed. So do you want to go first?
Oh, I guess. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, sorry, I've been really hyped for this show just because I'm someone who's. I mean, I'm very negative, but I also like play up that negativity, usually for comedic purposes, but sometimes people misunderstand me. Like, Maz, you get really mad at all these shows. Like, you just fucking screamed at Isekai Smartphone. It's your fault for watching this. Why do you do this?
I think that was a positive. That was a positive for me. So, yeah. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's all in good fun, but, you know, sometimes they're like, why do you do this? You should probably find... I mean, if you hate it so much, maybe you should find something else to do. And the reason why I do this, the reason why I love talking about anime, the reason why I watch so many shows every season, is because you never know when you're going to get a show like Made in Abyss. That's why. Because I didn't know anything about this show when it first came out. I just saw that the first episode was out. There was a discussion thread on our anime, and I'm like, I'll watch it, whatever. If I don't like it, then I'll fucking drop it. I wasn't even in a good mood when I saw it. I just finished I just finished watching Clockwork Planet from the last season, which was fucking garbage. But so I was really burnt out by anime when this show came out. So when it did, I'm just like, whatever, I'll just watch it. And it was so wonderful. The characters and the world and the art, the music, the everything about this show was just so perfect. It just really spoke to me. I just love that there's a really interesting setting, all this lore behind it, all of these different things in it, all these weird monsters, these weird artifacts, the role that the people play in it. These characters are just fun little children, and then they eventually get sent into a harsh reality. That's just something I love. I love a show that's really lighthearted, but at the same time, it's not afraid to bare its fangs. It's not afraid to get dark and mean when it wants to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's exactly what this show does.
Yeah, I think it's cool to think about it because I don't really think we've had a really true fantasy story in a while. We always talk about these isekai shows that really feel like the trapped in a video game situation. So it's either in like, you know, a medieval setting with medieval monsters. Like, we always have that preconceived notion of what an isekai world is. But Made in Abyss has created its own fantasy setting that's kind of in our world, but it would be like set off to the side in a different area in our world that's completely dedicated towards exploring this abyss. It's created its own culture, its own, like, morale. It's this own, like, this really true world building that is really unique to see. Like, you can honestly say that Made in Abyss is a unique experience whether you enjoyed it or not. Yep. And it's worthwhile watching for this season. And I really like how the characters feel like genuine kids, but they feel like genuine kids for that world and setting. You know, like, they have all these, like, Riko has all these experiences with surviving, and it feels really, it's just fitting for someone who would dedicate their life to exploring this abyss and fighting these dangerous monsters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just 1 second, Cav. I just want to comment on, like, this world having its own culture and everything. I think that's really interesting because some people kind of don't really... Like, some people would be kind of confused by the first couple episodes. Like, you know, why is everyone so fascinated with the Abyss? Why is, like, the leader of that orphanage, why does he just let her go? Why isn't there so much authority in this world? It's just because you just kind of think about it, and it's just like, there's a whole society that's just really obsessed with this Abyss. That's just the reason. They don't care about the well-being of everyone. Everyone's just there to go into the Abyss, basically.
Yeah. Well, when I got into Made in Abyss, I knew what I would get, because source facts were really hyped about the show, basically, yeah. It's not like I was...
fucking source facts. God damn it, I hate you all.
Yeah, they did a great job of showing, like, how dark it's gonna be. Like, even if we didn't pick up on the really obvious tone of the beginning, like, the source readers made it sure that we knew how dark it would be.
Guys, next episode!
XD.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I was pretty hyped before the season started, and I'm really glad that basically the whole show met my expectations. It was great on many levels, on many layers.
Huh.
Layers of the Abyss. I see you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That comment
it was
so
actually
deep, bro.
Yeah, it's a story about descending into abyss, quite literally and as well figuratively, because I know many people dislike main characters, Riko and Regu, because they found them boring. They think that they do not have any kind of development, they do the same mistakes, and why they're still alive and stuff. It's actually a story about losing innocence. Basically, they do make mistakes, and they do get punished for them. Actually, and there is a development if you actually try to look for it.
Like, if you pay attention, you see it, kind of thing. Yeah. Like, if you watch the show, you can see how they develop. Not sure if that sounds toxic, but
yeah, especially the last arc, it showed significant development in both Riko and Regu's like relationship and their attitude to their journey.
Yeah.
And actually, indeed, people who try to find character development or like some complex relationship between characters, they just looked for the wrong show. It's not about that. It's about Abyss, about its allure, about its craziness, sadness, how bizarre it is, basically. It's just it's just about Beast and everything surrounding it. Like, it's not
Yeah, the
even
Abyss is the
relevant.
main
It's
character.
not even relevant. Yeah, who is descendant here? Relevant
Yeah.
is the Abyss itself. How
Yeah, the
it,
Abyss is the main real character. That's what we're
yeah.
here for.
Yeah, and I believe it actually was shown pretty well. Again, execution was on a high level. The host was amazing. The presentation was great. Like the scene in the first episode and the very last scene in the last episode were breathtaking. They were just
yeah. I wanted to talk about that. That I actually I was giving them shit before, but after episode 10, where like the Rico arm scene, after that I ended up binging the manga in that night. Like, I just caught up to it and read, like, I guess, like, it's like 20 chapters. So I knew what was going to happen, and I kind of knew, I had, like, a good, like, estimate of where they would end for the season. And, so at first I was going into the last episode thinking, like, you know, I'll probably give this an 8. Like, this is, like, a good, really good series, probably my favorite. But, you know, I already know what's going to happen. You know, I just know what's going to happen. Then I watched the last episode, and I was, like, blown away with the execution of the scene. You know, the elevator scene was even more heartbreaking than it was when I read it. The, like, the killing Mitty scene was even more heartbreaking. And then for that final scene of the balloon coming up with, like, there's no dialogue, it's just the soundtrack playing, and you just follow the journey of the balloon up the abyss, and you see all of the it's kind of representing all the struggles that Riku and Reg faced while they came down, and seeing it kind of persevere on its way up to try and meet their friends from the orphanage. It was just such an emotional scene. It was so amazing and beautiful just to see how, like, this journey that we've been on for 13 episodes was just reflected so well in such a really simple scene. So I thought it was amazing. It made me raise my score. It made me like this. It made this my is the perfect way to end the series at that point. Probably anime of the year for me so far. And if not, if maybe something else happens in next season, it's at very least, like, scene of the year.
Yeah, I can see that. Apparently, there were some people who were disappointed by the final. I do not know why and what did they expect when the manga is still ongoing. And this story about the destination. Like, this journey has a clear destination, clear goal in mind, and of course they would not get just to that just now, basically. Why? And I do not know why people expected, like, something definitive out there, but for an ongoing manga, it was a very nice ending. It was in the spirit of that journey, I guess. Yeah. And I was really satisfied by it. Like, if there was no, like, the middle part, which kind of dragged out for a bit, I would give it a 9. But for me, it's a very strong 8 right now.
I think that's fair.
I gave it a 10. Yep. It's the fourth.
Doing it big.
It's the fourth anime of all time that I've given a 10 out of 10. I mean, I get why people. I get why people didn't like the middle arc. I mean, I kind of understand. Me personally, I didn't mind at all.
Yeah. And one last thing to bring about Made in Abyss, I actually mentioned in the previous podcast. But if you want something like innocent kids being like involved in some serious, mysterious stuff, I would recommend checking out The No Coil, because it explores the same concept, and it just features the similar style. It's also kids, like, not teens, but kids, and they are exploring some very adult things, I guess, like mature. So yeah, here's that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I could not recommend it enough. For me, it's anime of the season, anime of the year, best soundtrack, best visuals, best character designs. The only thing it doesn't get a best of is the ED and OP. Basically.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like them both, but I don't know if they're best.
Best OP was Princess Principal.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
I like the visuals of that, but the song annoyed me. But that's a discussion for another day. I'm weird with OPs and DVs. Don't at me.
Song, all right, next we got a few minutes left. We still have to talk about the leftovers from spring, just because they ended.
Do the lightning round.
Yeah,
lightning round.
We're gonna lightning round this shit because we don't have a lot of time. Did anyone watch the second season of Shingeki no Bahamut?
Yeah.
How was it? Give it like a minute.
It was pretty bad, awkward. I mean, the first half was pretty good because it established like politics. It established characters. It brought some characters from the first half, but in the second half they just decided to throw everything in the trash can. Awake Bahamut for some reason, just I guess to justify the name of the anime. Kill a bunch of characters and redeem the main villain, and everything went off the rails completely. Like everyone was really disappointed by the ending, basically, and it made the entire journey not worth it. Like,
that's sad.
Yeah, it was sad. Yeah, especially since the first half was really good, like on the par of with the first season. Sadly. Well, happens with the best of us. Happens with the best of anime.
Alright, next, Sakura Quest. Did you guys watch that?
Yeah, I finished that. What about you?
I did watch it. I thought it was just okay. Shut the fuck up! Who the fuck's messaging me? So, Sakura Quest, maybe it was my fault for getting a little excited, because, you know, PA Works, they build this as like the next Hanasaku Iraha, the next Shirobako. It's girls working in, it's a workplace drama sort of thing, although this one's more about like doing field work, like going around and, I don't know, working with people, I guess. That's fine. I guess it just wasn't good for me because I don't really respect tradition too much, and this is basically... this builds a setting that's very, very rich in tradition, and a lot of the people there, they don't want to change just because it's like, I'm old, and this is how it's always been. I was like, fuck you, whatever. It kind of has a lot of heart to it, though. I thought the last few episodes were actually pretty good, so I gave it a 6 in the end.
Still on hold at episode 3 because it's boring. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I won't.
It is kind of boring, honestly. I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, I would not argue with that, actually. Even though it got the title of that favorite anime of the season, which is not Made in Abyss, for me. It was a really nice experience, actually, because I was living in a rural area for some time. I know how hard it is to keep like traditions, and yeah, as you say, it's kind of in line with other PA works like Hanasaku Iraha and Shirobako. It's cute women doing adult stuff. It mainly focused on the characters, and it had a really high payoff at the end when every single character arc was concluded in a very nice way. I guess you agree with me, was right. Yeah, it was just good. It was just it raised important topics. It had some powerful scenes here and there. I actually enjoyed it. It was kind of boring at times, especially in the middle, but the ending was like redeemed everything. Like I was thinking about giving it 7, but the last episodes were too good, and like they got me really emotional at the end. The last episode was perfect, and that's why I gave it 8. Also, Yoshino best girl.
I disagree, but all right. Yeah, that's fine. So, recreators.
Trash.
Okay. Nailed it.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it. I think I don't know. You know what? This is just,
you get it.
I cannot talk about this show in like 2 minutes. I'm sorry. I did not like Recreators. I thought the characters were really boring. There's a lot of exposition, or some people argue it's not exposition. Look, I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? I say talking in a monotonous voice for like 5 minutes. That's not interesting. That's not good. That's not how you get me engaged. And there's a gigantic fight at the end, which is a kind of bullshit because it's all staked on like emotions, audience emotions. It's weird. I'll give it this: there is no other show like this, as far as I'm concerned. It is one of a kind, and I think,
yeah, kind of.
I mean, it has all these different things of like that a masterpiece can have, where you have all these kind of fun characters. It fully explores its concept and does all these weird different things, but I don't know, it just doesn't press the right buttons for me. Just wasn't my thing.
I know what went wrong, actually. I was talking about it a lot, why I disliked it, why I kind of hated it, because instead of focusing on characters and interacting them with the real world, which would be a cool idea, like exploring that kind of topic, like their relationship with their creators, attitude towards the world they were living in, their new world and stuff. They introduced the most overpowered characters they could think of and revolve around actual plot all about her. It was a horrible, terrible idea which ultimately brought down the entire story. Instead of focusing on characters, they focused on that plot, and it was bad.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The characters, the reason why the characters are boring is because they're all there just to fulfill like one specific purpose, basically. It's like the archetype of the character is just that. That's all they really are, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And now, the final show is second season of My Hero Academia. Best shonen ever, guys, right?
XD.
Masterpiece.
I'm not allowed to talk about My Hero Academia because this is the lightning round. I think this is like, I think it's fair to say this is like the biggest anime of the year. Distinguished between best and biggest,
well,
like this is the most popular.
Yeah, Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah, Attack on Titan. Okay, cool. It's not even. It's up there. It's pretty big, but not the biggest. Yeah. I think it's pretty okay. I think they did a good job executing the manga. So, if you liked it, you really liked it. If you're me and like one of 5 people who are like not a big fan of the series, you're still kind of whatever on it. But they did good. Best shonen of the series, anime of the year, season 3 hype.
Yeah, hooray!
Plus Ultra.
I mean,
that's it.
It's kind of good that we only have a couple minutes to talk about this because really, My Hero Academia it's season 2 of My Hero Academia. If you saw the first season, you know what's going to happen. You know, there are characters that are pretty cool. It's pretty hype sometimes. Sometimes it's really fucking boring in my opinion. It has some really great fights though, for what it's worth.
Yeah. I actually do have to give some credit because it happened in the second season. I really enjoyed episode 24 where it was Bakugo and Deku taking on All Might. I think that was actually the best episode of the series. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was cool to see All Might beat the shit out of them because it was much overdue.
It was pretty cool.
So if they just made an entire series of All Might beating the shit out of these kiddos, I'd probably give it a 10. But that's unfortunately not what it is. But we do get one episode of it, and that makes it worth. So I'd say, like, at least that was pretty good. It's worth checking out. But yeah, the show exists. Everyone else loves it. I don't think Cav has seen it.
Nah.
Oh, you haven't?
Yeah.
Nah, shonen, especially such vanilla, are not in my category.
Okay. Yeah, it is like the most shonen anime out there, which, I mean, I like it. I mean, it's fine. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but, you know, for what it is, it's pretty good. It does an interesting... I like the theme of having power and, like, what to do with it. You know, it explores that. It's pretty fun. But, yeah, it's... I personally dislike it just because it keeps showing all of these villain characters and it just doesn't do anything with them. They keep saying like, oh, on that one day, that day had such grave consequences that we won't know about for like 5 fucking seasons. It's like, okay, why even bother saying that? I don't care. Just show it or don't. That's it.
Yeah, I think like the really strong appeal of the show is it elicits like a very emotional reaction in some people of that whole like, I too can be a hero kind of thing. Like, a lot of people who wanted to be heroes as a kid and told they weren't because we all suck are like, no, guess what? You suck, but you don't have to suck because you can be a hero. And I think that elicits, like, a really deep emotional connection with people that I don't really have, that I think really carries the show. But yeah, it's like, the villains suck. The one villain that looks like he wouldn't suck ends up being, like, he's gone. So, yeah, yeah, I need to. I'm done. I can't talk about My Hero Academia. We're trying to wrap it
yeah,
up.
we got.
Don't let me out of my zone. But it was a solid season. I will say that it was solid.
This season of My Hero Academia, or the whole season in general?
Probably just My Hero Academia. The rest of the season was pretty trash, but it's like not out of the ordinary trash. So it can't be like, is it worse than normal, or is it just as bad as
this
usual?
season was Made in Abyss and some other bullshit.
Not really.
Princess Principal was alright. But
it had Made in Abyss, it had Mahojin Guru Guru, and everything else.
You know what?
Yeah,
that's true. Guru Guru saved it at the last second for me. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, watch Guru Guru.
Watch Guru Guru. It is a great show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
and that's about
hopefully next podcast we won't talk about the leftovers in like 2 minutes. So because I want to talk about Guru Guru, but that's for another day. Thank you for listening, everyone. Cav and Shaw, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Maz. So until like 2-3 weeks from now, when I get to bitch about Black Cobra, we'll see you then.
And I get to yell about why everyone is fucking wrong about Urahara.
Whoop.
Bye.
Yep.